I'm always in my PJs too.
Hey, I'm in my PJs as well. Welcome, everybody. Thanks very much for coming back. This session, we are going to look at knowledge in a little bit more detail in the context of Service Cloud. And we've been talking a little bit about the plan for the rest of the course. For the rest of this course, what I want to do is focus on finishing off Service Cloud. You've done quite a lot of it already. You've done cases, live agent, you've done consoles, you've done entitlement, you've done assignment rules, you've done most of the basics of Salesforce Service Cloud. But I want to cover knowledge. We're going to go ahead and set up a couple of knowledge articles today. And then on Wednesday, what I'd like us to look at is something cool. We're going to do AI and we're going to do chatbots using Einstein within Service Cloud. So we're going to push the boundaries a little bit. It's new for me as well, so we'll all be learning together. Next week, I'd like to cover communities. Communities is an awesome topic and very cool. The first time they released the new community builder, a friend of mine were texting each other just going, oh my God, have you seen this? You can build your own websites. Anyway, and then communities will be our final topic for the course before we look to wrap up the following week. So 2 weeks from now, where I'm going to get some guest speakers in to talk about some of the other products that you can learn on the Salesforce platform. So Marketing Cloud, Field Service, CPQ, communities. And then I would like to actually have another session with some guest speakers talking about the types of job roles that you can look at in the Salesforce ecosystem. Perhaps we'll get some recruiters in, and we're going to talk a little bit about the community and how you can make the best of this amazing group of people around the world who are there to support you, and you can support them and grow together in this discipline. Okay, so without further ado, knowing that you can see my screen, which is marvelous, I'm going to move all of you lovely people over to my other screen so that I can keep an eye on the chat. And I'm going to move, so hopefully you can see the website with the Learn Salesforce Week 13. I assume so. So today, the sessions that we're going to look at are on Trailhead, so please log into Trailhead. And there is a badge called, which I'll, sorry, just a moment. Left some things open. We have a badge that is called Apocalypse Training Plan. This badge is, and I have it all prepared, just not in the right place. Okay, we're going to go to a badge that's called a trail called Enhanced Service Cloud with Lightning Knowledge. And we're going to set up a very simple knowledge base in our own orgs, and we're just going to work through a couple of these badges. Okay, so first of all, I'll put the link in the chat for you. I'm going to move you all into my middle monitor. Sorry. Then get started with Lightning Knowledge. Okay. So those of you who remember, we looked at cases being something that you can, that need resolution. And what we're looking at with knowledge is a feature in Salesforce, but it's actually kind of more than that. It's more of a concept and there are several benefits to having knowledge-centered support. The first benefit is if you have is that the most common cases can be resolved with very little touch from an agent, which is great because it helps with their personal development. They learn more about your business and your products you offer and all the possible ways that they can troubleshoot and fix problems. But also the benefit is that if your agents are spending less time on more mundane, most common issues, then that actually is costing money that could be spent delivering service to a much higher level. So we've been looking at knowledge as a way of supporting customers. But another great thing about knowledge with Service Cloud is that you can actually expose knowledge from the inside out. There are ways that you can expose knowledge articles to customers so that they don't even contact you in the first place. They can just go straight away to an FAQ, go and find the answer to their issue. And those of us who spend a lot of time online would be familiar with that knowledge-centered support model. Just thinking about Salesforce, for example. Not Salesforce Ben, love you Salesforce Ben, but not for this. So if we go to help and training, or even we just go invalid Salesforce, and you'll notice that obviously, you know, Salesforce has help.salesforce.com. This is all based on knowledge-centered support. This is effectively a way of just making articles, making information accessible to customers that they can go and find themselves, that they don't have to contact your support team for. And that first of all means that you can keep your support function quite lean as a business. But second of all, making sure that they are focused on some of the really tough queries that really can't be answered or are really quite nuanced. And enables that team to gain more knowledge. I think you get the idea. Anyway, so back to our Ursa Major scenario, we have Ada Balewa. She is our support agent, and she appreciates the power of knowledge. She knows a lot, but there is just one Ada and loads of customers. So yet again, another benefit of having knowledge is that having knowledge-centered support is that you enable your support agents to share what they've learned as they've been resolving problems for customers. They can share what they've learned, and not just with themselves and customers, but with each other as well. So it just means that the whole team is training itself constantly. So some of the things that so obviously there's a need now to implement Lightning Knowledge. This has been driven by the platform, obviously, because it's a training scenario. But this answer about having Lightning Knowledge could be could come up as part of a conversation you're having with a customer support rep, where you're saying, you know, where you're looking at the figures and go, okay, how do I get the cost of support down? Well, this is one way of doing it. You know, there are a few different options, and being able to explain why they actually help businesses become more targeted and more supportive at a lower cost is part of our job as consultants, to help people realize that. So basically, think of it as a giant library with the most helpful librarian possible, who can answer everybody's questions really quickly. At the moment, we've got one single point of failure, which is Ada. She knows everything. So if Ada got smacked by a bus or came down with COVID-19 the next day, does that mean the rest of the support function just completely keels over? Well, at the moment, yeah. So what do we do to solve that? We can ask her questions and take the answers and use them to produce knowledge articles. For example, what are the benefits of using solar energy? Well, she could actually, or the sales and marketing team could write that copy and put it in an FAQ article that they then expose to customers. Customer doesn't have to phone you. Customer can find the answer. It's search engine optimized, so the customer can find it on Google and move on. Thus freeing up your agents. What happens when a technician installs solar panels? Well, there could be a step-by-step article that explains the process for the technician to follow. Do you see what I mean? So you could also be writing up procedural documentation using knowledge articles, and you can surface those to people out in the field, to people in the office, to people at home, directly in Salesforce, so that you're not having to give them access to top secret drives and all that kind of stuff. Question, what's the best way to deal with an angry caller? Well, you could provide an article that gives guidelines for good customer service. So there are a few different use cases for knowledge articles. The other great thing that you can see with knowledge articles is that as cases are logged and you start picking them up, Salesforce is quite smart at trying to surface articles that it thinks will help you based on the subject of the case. Whether it helps or not, don't know, but there is a rating system. But the thing with implementing knowledge is it's not just a matter of turning a feature on and then adding stuff. You've got to think about, in terms of implementation, you've got to think about who owns this, what is the process for getting more articles and building that base, what training do we need to give to our knowledge article experts, because often they are support agents who have an extra responsibility to write, to share that knowledge. And how do we keep it up to date? How do we make sure it's aligned with what's going on in the rest of the business? For example, production. Let's say you work in a factory and you're producing iPhones, and someone phones up and wants to know, or someone wants to know something about the iPhone. How do you make sure that spec that they're seeing over in production is the same as the spec that you're seeing in customer service? So all of that requires a business process in its own right, really. So obviously Ada's notes cover all these questions. She's excited to turn them into articles, and she can share them with anyone who needs them. Who sees them? Everyone. And I suppose another one of these benefits is it helps the customer, as I said before, it helps the customer answer their own questions. It increases agent productivity. Because obviously if Ada is training up new people all the time, she knows there's loads to learn, so she can actually focus her onboarding training and her induction on stuff they need to know before they even log in to Salesforce, and then actually let the articles and show them that the articles can help them do their job better. They don't have to research every time a question is asked from scratch. They actually just record the answer in an article, and then the next time someone asks that question, you can find it in the article. I used to use it all the time at Financial Force. If someone came up with a bug or an error that I hadn't seen before, the first thing I would do is go and search all the cases, because we didn't have knowledge articles back then, but I went and looked at all the cases to see what was going on with them. So Lightning Knowledge, it's part of Salesforce. It's integrated with Salesforce. It's completely on the platform itself. So what you need to do it just talks about setting up Sales Cloud, Service Cloud orgs and so on. So let's go. I'm going to go incognito because I think this is just a quiz that we can do together that just talks about the benefits here. So copy, new incognito window, paste, have some water. Okay, are you ready for another Trailhead badge? What is a knowledge base? A single repository for storing helpful organizational information. B, a dashboard for controlling all organization communication. C, the driving force for great collaboration. Well, that's the salesy answer. Or D, an alphabetical list of all your customers. Okay, question number 2. Oh, hi, Kat. Welcome back. Question number 2. How does a knowledge base improve productivity? A, by raising alerts when your company's bad-mouthed on social media. B, by keeping product information private so your customers have to call you. C, creating cases for employees to practice closing. And D, capturing and consolidating important information in one place. Okay. Did you all get your badge? Ta-da! Well done. Okay. Let's do some actual setup then, shall we? So we're going to go together and we're going to do another badge, which is called Lightning Knowledge Setup and Customization. And we're going to go and set it all up in our little orgs. So here is a link to this. And the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding procedure articles to our knowledge base. So what we got to do is obviously we've got to set up Lightning Knowledge straight away. We've got to define some layouts. We've got to add some articles. We've got to actually switch articles on as well, switch knowledge on. So before I do that, I'm going to just launch my org. Okay, so Maria is the admin. She's recently set up knowledge. and she wants to add some different knowledge articles. So with knowledge articles, it behaves a little bit like a custom object, but it surfaces information and data as if it's an article, like a written piece of work. But what it means for us is that when we actually set up knowledge, all we're doing really is adding we're enabling it, which enables the object, and then we are enabling record types for those objects. And we can define the fields that we show on there depending on what type. So if it's procedural, you could do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 as your fields. If it's FAQ, you could kind of structure it a different way. But the other thing you can do with knowledge articles is that because they're rich text fields, you can add videos, you can add photos, you can add bullet points, all of those different things that make an article easy to read and useful. So obviously what they're doing is Maria and Ada meet to go over what's going to be included on their page layout. So they're going to put basic information like the name, the URL, summary data. They're going to define who their audience is for their articles, for their procedure articles. So you see, most of the work is in the planning and the meetings. Any warnings? So obviously some procedures need warnings to stop people being injured, and probably loads of legal waivers as well, given the fact that their staff are working on roofs. Then we have steps. These are the core of the article. So do this, do that, do the other. Then your properties. This section gives article information, when it was published, who wrote it, who can see it. It's your metadata about the article. And this is all the more important for things like, because there are some companies that are moving from one off-platform knowledge base or a legacy knowledge base into Salesforce, and we have to find weird and wicked and wonderful ways of loading in all that historical articles, all the historical articles, which is fun. So there's a good list of fields. There's obviously internal notes. So there's a field that only her agents can see with notes about the case. But she wants to know what actions readers are actually taking on articles. And that's a really important metric as well, because you could push out all these knowledge articles, but if they're not used or useful, then, and there's no call to action, then where's the incentive to use them, right? And thus save money. So adoption has to be at the back of our minds all the time when we are, or probably the forefront actually, all the time when we're designing anything on Salesforce. So she wants them to be able to read an article, post to chatter about it, or set up a poll. And then she thinks about the permissions. So what are the things that they need to do for permissions? Well, authors write and edit articles. Ada points to the action list that they created. So edit, delete, publish, change record type, submit for approval, assign, archive, restore, and post. So there's all these kind of things that you've got to do. Now, for this module, we are apparently going to need to create a new Trailhead playground. So just ignore what I was saying earlier about getting a new, about using your existing one. It takes about 3 to 4 minutes. We've done this once before. So what we've got to do is just go straight to the bottom and create a Trailhead playground. Oh, well, I can't. Maybe I'll try it with my org actually, see if this works. Oh no, it says categorically says that there are issues if you try and use it with a hands-on org. So we will need, so while you lot watch me faff about, if you could please spin up your next orgs, your new org, that would be really, really good. Okay. And I am going to spin up a new one. Create a new Trailhead playground. There we go. It's just spinning it up. Kat says, wow, Jeremy, another new playground. You're swimming in them now. Teasing Jeremy because he likes to use his playgrounds to death. Think it's prudent. I wonder when it's prudent to kill some of them. Well, as you can see, Jeremy, I have quite a few here. that I've kept. So like one is here from September, I think, from when I was doing a pretty nasty super badge. I kept that because people still ask me questions about it and I like to go in and just check it. But like this one, I've not even bothered to log in for quite a long time. So just you know, use your gut. Think about what you're going to need and what you aren't going to need. Disconnect, that one's expiring soon. NPSP, well, I don't need to worry about that because I have it. So there's, you know, just have a look, and obviously Salesforce does some automatic cleanup. Right then, it's still requesting. So first things first, when you enable knowledge, you cannot disable it. So please don't go switching knowledge on in anybody's production orgs. Always do it in Sandbox first, and then you can migrate your changes over using change sets, which is what we looked at a few weeks ago. Your articles, however, I think you'll have to move those over using the article tool, which I don't have experience of, actually. I've never used it. I'm aware of its existence, but have never used it. So maybe that's something we can explore. Right, okay, launch. Yes, of course, because it's still spinning up. Right, there we go. So we are a playful fox now. This is wonderful. And we're going to go through the steps to set up Lightning Knowledge. So you've got to go and enable it. So you go into your setup menu. Is everybody with me? Is anyone still waiting? Kat says don't turn on knowledge. Well, don't turn it on. Just use a sandbox first, please. Okay, so we're going to go in. Excuse me. Right. And we're going to go to knowledge setup, which thankfully has been set up for us already. So we click knowledge setup, which is a tile, and then we click start. And then what does it want us to do? It wants us to select a Lightning Knowledge author and click next, which is moi. And then this is the section where we start adding data categories. We're going to do that in a minute. So we're just going to skip this for now. And then we're going to click finish. And how do we know that knowledge is enabled? Because this hasn't told me anything yet. I go to setup. I type in knowledge settings. And I just verify that enable Lightning Knowledge is switched on. There we go. That's how you can tell. Okay. So complete this. Oh, okay. So once you've done that, you can check your challenge and that will get you your 500 points. That's the first thing that we have to do. Yes, knowledge is power. Come on. Yay, 500 points. Okay, tackle the next unit. So the next thing we have to do, and I'm following along with the Trailhead badge here, it's just on a different screen at the moment. If you go to the setup menu, choose setup and click Object Manager, and we're going to find knowledge. There we go. Now notice that it has a different suffix on the end of the API name. That's because it's a special feature. So we are going to just click on that and notice it's treated just like a custom object. So we've got our knowledge layout and we've got our Lightning Knowledge FAQ layout that are given to us out of the box. We're going to create a brand new one. We are going to select new, and we're not going to clone any existing page layouts because we're going to make a different type. So the name is called procedure dash reader. And we click save. Everyone all right? Yeah. Okay, then you just get what looks like a normal page layout editor. So you can just kind of, sorry, bloody Mac. Still getting used to the magic mouse. And here are all your fields here that you can bring onto your page. Most of them are system fields, so you can see like who's been assigned to fix the knowledge or to update the knowledge article, created date, first published date, the different languages, etc. You can translate most things in Salesforce using the translation workbench. So if you do write knowledge articles in different languages, then you can use the translation workbench to kind of fix that, kind of translate them. So the first thing we've got to do is we are going to change the mobile and lightning actions that people can use because we're going to be implementing directly in Lightning. We need to make sure that we override the ones that we've got to make certain things available. So what we want to do is allow users to chatter about the article, which means we have to override our predefined actions. So if you click on mobile and lightning actions and click override predefined actions, and nothing will happen. So what you do is click the spanner. And still nothing will happen. If you customize the actions in a quick action, okay. Okay, bit of an issue there. Anyway, I'm going to reload the page. And then let's drag post. There we go. And we're going to also drag poll to allow people to vote. So remember those requirements we looked at that she wanted people to do as a call to action? She wanted people to vote on them or post stuff about the article. So that's what we're enabling here. Next, we've got to set up the information section. So we've got the title, we've got the URL, that's already there. And they're also required. We just need to add a new field, which is called summary. So we're going to go to fields. We're going to pull over the summary field. And we're going to put it underneath the URL name. And what we then need to do is we're going to drag a section down. We're going to make things a bit tidy. No. Sometimes I really love my Mac and other times I hate it. Just a moment. Okay, I couldn't get to the left. So I'm going to go section and I'm going to call it article details. Everyone with me? Cool. No news is good news. So once you're happy with that, we're going to leave our defaults checked because that makes sure that this section is always shown. We're going to hit OK, and I'm going to switch my WhatsApp off. Just one moment. Okay. So now that we have our procedure reader, remember how I clicked save? Well, that has closed everything down from the page layout view, but that's okay because we've got to go and create some fields now anyway. No, it's not okay because apparently we do need to go back into the page layout. Apologies, because there's some standard fields we need to add first before we go and create our custom fields. So the second section that we're going to create, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move all these up because I'm a bit funny about stuff like that. Okay, then I'm going to pull down another section. I'm going to create another section and it's going to be called properties. It's going to be 2 columns. Properties. The key order is top down, so let's just make sure that that's what it says. Yes. And we're going to add some fields. We're going to add article created date and drop it in. We are going to add created by. We're going to add last modified by. And we are going to add last published date. Then there are some checkboxes that we need to add in. And these are all starting with the word visible, which is helpful. So visible and internal app, visible to customer, visible to partner, and visible in public knowledge base. Okay, so these are your settings that enable visibility. Quick save, just in case. Okay, well, actually now this time we are properly saving because we're finished in this section. So the next thing, everyone all right? Everybody with me? Can't get it to override the thing. Okay. So what I did, Kat, in the end was, because I just got pissed off with it, I went to mobile lightning actions and I just dropped it in. I just dropped in the post and dropped in the poll instead of clicking the spanner. Okay, so then we're going to create some custom fields about our knowledge article. And this is all about, you know, things like the audience, who should be following these procedures, etc. And that's the first thing that we're going to pull in. So we're going to go to fields and relationships, and we're going to create a new field. And the field type that we want is text area rich. And rich text area fields enable you to have your bullet points and videos and photos and things that you might need, and bullet points for your article. So it's actually, oh, pardon. If I've ever got long fields which require a lot of information, they're typically rich text fields when I'm building, just because of the extra flexibility and formatting that you get with it. So I'm going to click next, and this field is going to be called procedure audience. The description is use this field to identify who follows or executes this procedure. And then your help text will be who follows this procedure, question mark. I'm just going to put a full stop on the end, sorry, a period on the end of that sentence, because I'm not quite sure whether the checking mechanism will be that fussy, but you never can tell. So click next. And then we're actually selecting visible for all profiles. Okay, we want everybody who looks at this article to be able to see the properties, to see the procedure audience. Okay, we click next, and then we're adding it to the palette for the page layout, and that's really all you're doing here, is you're just adding this to the layout itself. So we're just going to make sure that this is shown only for procedure-reader. It doesn't need to be on any other page layouts. And Salesforce will add this new field as the last field in the first section. There are a couple of other fields that we've then got to do. We've got to rinse and repeat. We're going to do procedure warnings, which is another rich text field. We don't have any descriptions or anything for these fields, so I guess that we're just naming them and then moving on, making sure they're visible for everybody and making sure that they are only on the procedure-reader page layout. Okay, save and new. So we've done procedure warnings. Now we do procedure purpose. So another rich text field. Everyone with me? Am I going too fast? Just tell me if I'm going too fast. Okay. procedure reader, and then we've got procedure steps is the final field that we need to create. Text area rich, procedure steps. See, lightning fast. So you should have 4 new rich text fields: procedure audience, procedure purpose, procedure warnings, and procedure steps. Everyone with me? I'll go and get some water, let you guys catch up. So you're doing this section here, the article details. Okay, we there? Jeremy looks very focused. Okay, I'm going to move on. So hopefully you are just finishing up on creating your 4 new fields. So we can go into our page layout for authors, because the layouts might be slightly different. There'll be extra fields that you don't want the readers to see versus the authors. So what I'm just going to quickly do is make sure that all of my layout for readers is correct. So I'm going to go to my layout, procedure-reader, and I'm going to make sure that my 4 new fields are all in the correct section, which they are not. So I think it's just because I'm zoomed in too much. I can't see what I'm doing. Okay. Fields. Now your top section needs to be called information. You want your title, your URL, name, and your summary in the top section. And then your 4 article details fields are your audience, your purpose, your warnings, and your steps, in that order. Audience, purpose, warnings, steps. Save. Okay, visible in internal app. What was your question around that? You wanted to see where that should be. It's in a section called properties, and it's on the right hand side. So let me just double check that I've got everything. Oh, I see what you mean. On the screenshot in Trailhead, it's not actually there, is it? And we need to make sure that they're all in the right order. So visible to customer, visible to partner, visible in PKB. And then I'm just going to put the visible in internal app as the final one. Yeah, they've obviously added an extra field, but not updated the screenshot. Okay. Yeah, bonus field, exactly. Okay. Now let's go and create another new layout. So we're going to hit new under knowledge, and we're going to clone it from our procedure-reader. And instead, we're going to call it procedure-author. And we're going to make a new version of this layout. So hit save. And you'll see that, you'll just have the same layout that we had before. But we're going to change the actions. Instead of poll and post as our actions here, we are going to pull down some different actions. We're going to pull down edit. We are going to pull down delete. But it's not delete anymore. It's delete draft and it's delete article. Fine, pull them both down. We're going to bring publish. We're going to bring change record type. We're going to bring edit as draft. We're going to bring submit for approval. We're going to bring assign, archive, restore, and move post down to be the last option. And we're going to remove poll. Okay, quick save so you can see what I've got there. So the actions you need for your knowledge author are edit, delete draft, delete article, publish, change record type, edit as draft, submit for approval, assign, archive, restore, and post. I'll just give you a minute to do that. Okay, everybody, if you have completed your actions, there's another thing that we need to do here. Do you remember earlier she was talking about needing a field for internal notes, being able to have that field available for the authors and writers, that is for them to add their own kind of comments and so on, HR friendly comments, we hope. Well, we got to go and add another new rich text field. So we're going to go, if you've finished your actions, just click save. Then we're going to go to fields and relationships. We're going to click new, and we're going to create another new text area rich field. And we're going to just call it internal notes. Okay. Now, one thing that this does say is that the people who should have access to this field should only be people who have a profile called article author. Now, we haven't completed that part yet, but we can go and do that in a minute. So what I suggest you do is you make this field invisible for now. Just double check. Perhaps just make it visible to a system admin as well, please, and click next. And then all we're going to do is add this field to the procedure-author page layout, and it's going to go, yeah, anyway, and save. Now, the one thing that we're going to have to do, because I suspect that we'll come up against some problems if we don't do this, is we've got to go and create a new profile. So we're going to go and create a new profile from custom support profile. and I'm going to clone it, and I'm going to call it article author. And this is where we're going to assign the field level security. Yeah. This is where I'm going to assign the field level security to the article author profile directly. So once you've created your new profile called article author, I mean, I would do this with a permission set these days. I'm going to go back to my object manager, go back to my knowledge. I'm going to go back to my field, which is called internal notes. And I'm going to click on it. I'm going to set field level security. And I'm going to make sure that article author has that visible. Okay, everyone clear on what I just did? It is true, actually. We do get live feedback from Jeremy. If I ever want to know, like, if people are catching up or where they are, I was watching Jeremy lip read as he was going through all the actions earlier. So I was like, yeah, I could guess where you are. You are live feedback. It's awesome. So okay, so hopefully you've all got your profile now. The final thing to do is to just make sure that our page layout matches what it's supposed to be, what it's supposed to look like in Trailhead. So I'm going to go to page layouts. I'm going to go to procedure author, and I'm just going to double check that the first section is title, URL, name, and summary. Fine. Article details are these 4 things. We've got to move internal notes down to underneath procedure steps for article details. Okay, so we just take our field and plonk it down by 1 section and click save. Okay. Yeah, so Kat says, funnily enough, this process helped me understand field level security properly. Yes, it does. It really does help me as well. Doing it and understanding why you're doing it. Oh, that was a hiccup. Okay. So next thing to do is we've got to go and play around with some record types. Record types are really important because they enable us to actually say, out of all of these different types of knowledge article, which ones are our users allowed to make? Are they allowed to make new FAQ layouts? Are they allowed to make new procedures? And what is the, but also they get an understanding of what the view is that they get of each type. So for example, if you are on an author profile, you see the author, the procedure author page layout, and you'll see the internal notes field. You'll see the different actions compared to the reader page layout where you'll just see the basics. So we are going to create record types. So we're going to go down to our left-hand side and we can see record types here. We just click that. We can see that there is an existing one for FAQ. We are going to add a new one called procedure. So we click new. It's called procedure. The description is for step by, oh, Gemma. For step by step instructions, and click active. Then we have to choose the profiles that will use this record type. So we're going to use it next to, there's one called customer, which we haven't set up, which we'll have to go back and do. Yeah, we're going to have to go back and do it. So we've got to go and create. Here's a trick for you, everyone. Just leave your page open, right click on home, open a new tab. Now I think there's a preparatory module that I've missed here. And I'm going to go and just double check what profile it tells us to change. So just one moment. 19 basics, simple knowledge base, knowledge user, go with the flow, create articles, FAQ. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's okay. So that's, sorry guys, that's the annoying thing actually, is that it tells us that she set it up in a previous life, but she's not, and it doesn't tell us which. It doesn't tell us which profiles and how to make them and stuff like that. Okay, anyway, let's create a new profile for customers. So we'll go to profiles. See, I don't know if this is a community user or not. I'm going to just clone, I'm going to clone customer community user. I'm just going to call it customer. Who's with me? If we break it, we break it. Let's break it together. So quick question. I don't see delete, only delete article and delete as draft. Yeah, I know, we saw that as well. It's because the screenshot is out of date. Right. So now that I've added my customer profile, I go back to my previous screen and I'm just going to enable this record type just for system administrator and click next. And then I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to previous because now my customer profile is there. Everyone clear? So if you've gone into another tab, you go into another tab, create a profile. I cloned the customer community profile and just called it customer. And then I went back to my knowledge page. I clicked next and then I clicked previous and then I was able to see my new customer profile. Does everyone understand that? Yeah. Jeremy understands, it's fine. Live feedback says maybe. Oh, we love you, Jezza. Okay, so we click go, click next, sorry, and then this is the point where we say which profiles should see which page layout. And remember, we have different knowledge layouts for different record types. Well, this and profiles, well, this is a procedure. So everyone should really see the all users that are assigned to the customer profile should see the procedure reader layout. So if you click, there's a section here where you can choose different page layouts for different profiles. So let me just double check. Everyone generally should see procedure-reader. More profiles that she's created earlier that, anyway, sorry. So knowledge layout, I'm going to change this. I'm going to say, because I'm just so worried about breaking it. So if we click under procedure, we're going to apply a different layout for each profile. I'm just going to leave it as knowledge, but for customer, we're going to make sure it's procedure-reader. What else does it say? And save. And then unfortunately, we've got to create one more profile. So I've gone back into my other tab and I'm going to click profiles. and I'm going to clone support. I'm going to clone the custom support profile. So I'm just opening it up. Press clone, and I'm going to call this support agent. I wouldn't mind if I could see like where these profiles were created beforehand. Sorry, anyway. So now I've got these profiles. There's something else that I need to do. So I need to make sure that all users assigned to the customer profile see the procedure-reader page layout for this article type. Perfect. Okay, so back to record types, procedure, page layout assignment. So all my customers see reader, and all my support agents need to see author. So we're going to go down to support agent, and for the procedure, we're just going to change, for this record type, you can see all the different layouts that have been assigned per profile. So we can see that the customer has the reader procedure layout. And at the moment, the support agent just has a standard knowledge layout. So we're just going to change that. So I've just clicked into this matrix here where it says support agent. I click knowledge article, it goes purple. That means it's selected. So then I can select the page layout and change it to procedure-reader and click save. Right. So now that we've done that, we've got to go to our support agent profile and just make a couple of changes. Now we're already in, we can already get there without following instructions on where to go. Let me just check how you're all doing. One more time. Okay, so fairly confusing instructions, apologies. So there's a couple of things you need. You need a profile called customer, which I cloned off of this standard community user, customer community user. And there's a profile called support agent. And what we just did was we created a record type. So we created a record type that's called procedure. And we have two page layouts that go with this record type. One is called reader and the other is called author. So what we then did was we went to page layout assignment and we clicked edit assignment. And then you'll see here are all the different record types that go with knowledge. And here are all the profiles. And what this enables you to do is to say for each record type and profile combination, which page layout should that person see or use rather. So we have the reader is being assigned to a customer, and we have the author being assigned to the agent, which for some reason I've done wrong. There we go. And click save. Glad we did go back and do that again. Thank you. Right. How to get back to the fields? Sure. Fields are here, top left-hand corner. You just go fields and relationships here. Okay. So the next thing that we've got to do is just a couple of changes to the support profile. We've got to go and add these record types to the support profile in order to allow your agents to actually create articles using this record type. So we're going to go to our support agent profile, which we can easily get to here because we're already looking at a list of profiles. They've all got links. So we just click on the name support agent. That takes us directly to that profile. Lightning fast. So now with record types, this is where it gets interesting because ordinarily, if you're changing profile settings, you just click edit and off you go. But with record types is actually a completely different table, believe it or not. And what that means is we have to go and change the relationship between the record type table in the background and our user profile. And we have to do that not by editing, but by scrolling down to the record type section and adding our record types. So here is where your record type settings are. You won't see these if you click edit next to the profile. You'll only see it if you view the profile. And then you can see that if you scroll down a bit more, any other records, objects that have got record types, you will have an edit button shown here. And knowledge is one of those things. Knowledge is one of those records that has record types. So we're just going to click edit here. And we've just basically got to enable these two record types for this profile. And all I did was just clicked and held down shift and then clicked them both and then added them over into the right hand side to show that the support agent, whenever they create a new article, they can choose whether it's an FAQ or whether it's a procedural article. Just checking the chat. Now, another thing we can do is we can choose the default. So and this is where we have to get quite smart with these things as well, because sometimes with record types, you might want your users to see records of that type, but not necessarily create records of that record type. And this is how you control that. So if you wanted to make it so that users, if they click create new article, they don't then see a screen that says, is it an FAQ or a procedure? Let's say you've got people who just only write FAQs. You could actually create a profile for those people and then add the FAQ record type just to that profile. And all they will get is the experience of creating an FAQ. They won't be asked to choose, and they'll only see the FAQ layout. Make sense? It's all about what you can create when you assign record types. So move the needed record types, so FAQ and procedure, and then click save. Leave FAQ as the default. Right. Now, in order to pass the challenge, we've got to create a third record type. Is everybody with me at the moment? Yes, so. So we are going to create a new record type, which is called troubleshooting. So we're going to go back to Object Manager. This is the one where we're going to get tested on. And we're going to go back to knowledge. And we are going to create a new record type, which is called troubleshooting. So we click new. Call it troubleshooting. Do we need to put anything else in? No, we just have to click it as active. And then we enable for all profiles. And thankfully, this page layout, the layout that we want for this, is the same for everyone. It's just a standard knowledge layout. So we just select knowledge layout and we click save. Yeah. Kat, I couldn't have said it better myself. She says, it's funny how some stuff in Salesforce is super intuitive and some stuff is a giant list of info that is like, Perfect emoji use there as well. Yep, sometimes it is. It's because you have to go by priority. If you're a massive company like Salesforce and you're building a platform, you've got to go with, you've got to be quite selective and careful about where you put your investment. So that's why some bits will be further along the development path than others. Okay, I'm going to check my challenge because I want to know if I passed and if I managed to break it by making more profiles. Oh, thank God for that. Okay, everybody. So if you check your challenge, you should be all right. Okay, 40% of the way through. How are we doing for time? Wow, 9:20. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at validation status, which indicates the state of a knowledge article. And there are two states that we're going to be looking at for this use case for Ursa Major. We've got not validated, which means an article must go through validation and review. And we've got validated, which means that an article has been reviewed, it's been validated, and it's ready to be published for people to use. But before anybody can use that validation status, we've got to activate it, of course, because it's a knowledge setting. So let me just double check the chat. Everyone all right? Yeah, cool. So let's go ahead and do that. So under quick find, we're going to go into home, under our quick find, and we're going to type in knowledge settings. And we're going to edit it. Or are we? Just a moment. Select activate validation status field. Well, that has been ticked, so that's already been done. So, and that means that agents can now use that status, but we now need to make sure that we can help them find it. So there's a change we need to make to the compact layout under knowledge. Remember compact layouts? We looked at them quite early on. So we're going to go back to object. We're going to type in knowledge. And we're going to click compact layouts. And we're going to make a new one. And this one's going to be called knowledge compact layout for agents. And we're going to move our validation status over into the selected fields. So remember, we have a list of all of the different fields on the knowledge article, on the knowledge object that we can use. So we just pull over that validation status. But that's not the only field that we need. We also need to bring over the article number. We need to bring over the article record type. We need the version number. We need the publication status. And we need the last modified date, because that's what we've decided we will show everybody. Okay, so validation status, article number, article record type, version number, publication status, and last modified date. And we're going to click save. Amazing. So now that we've got our layout, we just have to assign it. So we click compact layout assignment, edit assignment, and we are going to add it to FAQ and procedure. And we're going to use knowledge compact layout. I'm sorry, these screenshots are just not, they don't match what's in the text. Anyway, so knowledge compact layout for agents. Click the record type to assign. Yeah. Select FAQ and shift click to select procedure. Yeah, okay. From compact layout to use, select the knowledge compact layout for agents, which is what we've done, and we click save. So now when you look at a knowledge article, you should see your article number, your article record type. Oh, apparently we have to change the order now. Because I followed the words. So we want the article number, the article record type, the version number, the publication status, the validation status, and then the last modified date. So apologies, everybody, we have to change the order of our fields. So your validation status is the penultimate field before last modified date. And click save. And that's that bit done. So the next thing we have to do is to actually edit these. Okay, so obviously we don't have any articles to edit yet at all, so it's hard to kind of check these, but so most of our stuff is setting up in the background at the moment. But what we're going to do is go to our app launcher, our 9 dots in the corner, and we're going to find Service Cloud, which is here, just called Service. And then we're going to click Knowledge. Because we've enabled it, it becomes a bar that's available at the top. And you notice we have our main kind of, our main fields here. If no articles are thingy, then press the list view. Yeah, so there won't be any articles. So we're going to click a new, we're going to create a new article just to show what this validation pick list does, validation status pick list does. So Maria chooses all articles. We don't have that. Sorry, I'm getting frustrated with this Trailhead badge. Okay, from the app launcher, find and click, select. Okay, yep. So we're going to go and create one because we don't have any samples in here. So FAQ. How to reset your account password. Sorry, everyone. I'm just having to set this up. Okay. Validation status isn't even on here. Okay, sorry, guys, 2 seconds. Procedure. Troubleshooting. Where are all the fields? Right, okay, forget it. Sorry, everybody. I got a little bit lost on the article. So, because it's saying that we should be able to see some articles in here, but there are none. There are absolutely none. And it says if you can't see them, then change the list view, but there aren't any. So I thought of creating a new one just so I could show you. And when I click new, the validation status field wasn't there. So then I thought, I'll try the procedure layout. Well, there's nothing here either. Where is the page layout? I don't understand. Anyway, okay. I think it's because we didn't assign any page layouts to the actual system admin profile, and that would be why. Okay, so what we were actually supposed to be looking at is this validation status field, and you notice that says not validated. There are others that you can select, but we have to go and basically add some new ones, and this is where it gets slightly weird because your validation status is a pick list field technically, but it has its own section backstage where we can change it instead of actually, it's not a consistent approach to adding more statuses as it would be if you were changing any other pick list. This is in its own section. So I'm going to type in validation statuses and look, it comes up here. And we notice there are 2 different pick list values that are available here. So we're just going to create a new one, which is called work in progress. So click new. And we want to make sure that FAQ and procedure can use this new validation status that we're creating here. So we click save. And we want to make this default as well. So we can click edit and click default. So now every single article, it's completely ignored me. So I think what I'll have to do is unmake that validated. Oh, for some reason it seems to have worked. There we go. I just refreshed the page. gosh, this is disastrous. And you can now use, now that you've got these statuses in place, you can use them to show what's happening with individual articles, but you can also use them for validation rules as well. So I think this one actually comes with a quiz. So now that we've been through this ordeal of setting up the articles, we've got a lovely quiz that we can do together. So question number 1, why does Maria add the validation status field to the compact layout? To display it at the top of the article, to activate it for Ursa Major, to change the validation status, or to control the field level visibility? Change it. Question number 2, how do you create a validation status? A, by viewing the status, B, by editing the articles, C, by adding an item to the validation status pick list, or D, by creating a validation rule. Shall we see what it says? Aha! Doesn't like me. So I got question number 1 wrong. So what do we think is the answer, everybody? I'm not asking you to do my work for me. I'm just curious. I suspect it's A, but let's have a look. Yes, it's A. Hooray! Okay, we're 60% of the way through with half an hour to go. Should we tackle the next unit? I think we should. So the next thing we've got to do is look at visibility. Who gets to see what, and what do they get to do once they can see it? So visibility is slightly different for knowledge versus your standard kind of sharing and visibility that we've talked about up to this point in Salesforce. So obviously, whenever an article is published, we've got to think about the audience that it applies to. And there are some bits of information that customers really ought not to be able to see. So she wants to make sure that we can hide that information. So you get a set of default visibility settings. You get your visible in internal app, visible to customer, visible to partner, and visible in public knowledge base. So these are the differences. Internal users. So if you want internal users to see them only, if you want internal users to see them, you just make sure that that's ticked. So obviously, if you've got an article called How to Deal with Angry Customers, you don't really want your customers to see that, huh? The next one is visible to customers. So anyone assigned, anyone that's logged in and given a customer profile, and we tend to use that use case in communities. So community is like a customer portal. So if they log into the community that you've exposed, you can actually use this visible to customer box to expose your knowledge articles out throughout that portal. Visible to partner. So this is if you have a partner community user, you can actually make those users able to see an article. For example, how to install solar panels for Ursa Major customers. So that could be an installation partner. So you can make certain articles available just to partners through their own partner portal community area. And then visible in public knowledge base. This is if you use unauthenticated sites. If you actually expose your knowledge articles onto your website and people don't have to be logged in to have a look at it, or logged into your community, Salesforce community or portal to look at it, then you can actually make your FAQs, for example, available for the public to read. Okay, so we put those visibility settings onto page layouts for what we did, for our knowledge base app that we've been creating. And what we then need to do, what we then need to do is actually Sorry, I'll go back to, I'll just read this bit. Remember when we created the page layouts for procedure articles, we put the visibility settings at the bottom of the page, which we can't see at the moment. And I think that this is to do with record types. No. Record types. System admin. I'll explain why I'm doing this. It's not because I'm distracted. It's because I want to make sure that what I'm showing you makes sense, and to do that we've got to make sure that everything's enabled for system admins. Otherwise I can just be talking at you and it doesn't make any sense, and I just can't teach like that. Anyway, was it to do with article types? Knowledge type assignment. La 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 la. That would be why. Oh, you silly tart. Right. Procedure author. Thank you. Okay. So she placed the visibility settings at the bottom of the page for our knowledge articles. And you'd often think, okay, if it's meant to be checked, then why is it on the page at all? So she's been asked to remove the visible in internal app. That would be why the screenshots don't match. Because it's put what the actual screenshot should look like by the time you finished earlier in the section. Okay, I'm with it. So we got to remove that from the section, the properties section under procedure-reader. So click save. And notice what I did just to remove that. I just clicked a remove box. So we then got to do the same for the procedure author layout, and we can get there through this little drop down here. So we go to procedure author, and we're just getting rid of the final field, which is called visible and internal app, and quick save. And then just to err on the side of caution, I'm going to make sure that these FAQ ones don't have them either. Oops, undo. So visible and internal app, click save. And our standard knowledge layout, yeah, it wasn't there to begin with. Okay, everyone with us? So what we've done is we have deleted, on the page layout, we have taken away the field that says visible in internal app. Jeremy says, I have some of the fields, but the header doesn't show validations. Well, you need to check your compact layout. So you go under compact layout, check in here, edit, and make sure that your validation status is shown here. Yeah? Live feedback. So once it's there, but then if you know your validation statuses, remember they're managed elsewhere. They're not on the object as a pick list field. They're managed in their own special little section. Okie dokie. So now we've taken that field off the page layout. We've then got to go and do a bit of witchcraft around the field level security. So now that that field is gone, we are in a good place. So you can now control, using field level security, you can control who sees or interacts with any field in an article, basically, just like you would on a field on a custom object or a standard object. So you can choose to make the field visible to everyone, but you can also limit the interaction with that field as well. So they have a requirement to track internal only comments in a custom field called internal comments. We don't want customers to see confidential or potentially confusing information. So we want to make sure that that field is only visible to people who are using the agent profile. So where do we go? we're going to our fields and relationships section, and we're going to find our internal comments, internal notes it's called, not internal comments. Oh, hang on. No, we got to create a new one. So if we go to Setup, Object Manager, click, we're going to create a new field, and this new field is called Internal Comments, which is apparently different to internal notes. So I'm going to click New, and it's a rich text area field. And we're going to click Next, and we're just going to call it Internal Comments. I think I'm going to have to put some feedback out about this article. And then what we need to do is establish some field level security. It doesn't want us to put a description or help text in, but you might want to do that if you're doing this in real life. Make sure you give help text. Remind agents not that they should be professional when they fill out this information. And then on our field level security, we just want to make sure that I'm going to tick this box to select all, and then I'm going to untick it, because actually there's only a couple of profiles that I want to have access to this field. One of them is the custom support profile, and apparently we need to go and create another profile called agent in a moment. And we want to make sure that no one else can kind of see that. So we've got custom support profile, and we've got, oh no, it's called support agent. It's not called agent. Oh my God, I'm gonna have, anyway. So support agent and system administrator should be able to see those fields. And then we make sure that we have this field is available for all of the appropriate page layouts. It doesn't say which ones. I'm assuming that we need to make sure it's on the author. In fact, I'll just leave it for all of them. Okay, and now that we've done that, we have another quiz to do. Let me just check that everyone's all right. Yeah. Okay, so question number 1. Why would you want to control who sees an article using visibility settings? A, it isn't ready for publication. B, it has proprietary information. C, it has technical errors. Or D, it is too long. I think I'm going to put it isn't ready for publication. Question 2, how can Maria remove a visibility setting from a page layout? A, she can uncheck the option. B, she can check the option. C, she can remove the field. Or D, she can hide the field. I'm going to click remove. Okay, so this one's wrong, but actually this is perfect. This is actually a perfectly sound business reason. Why would you want to control who sees an article? Well, if it's not ready for publication, that's a great use case. But this is testing you on what you've read in the Trailhead badge. So I think it's going to be B. Let's have a look. Yeah. Okay. So finally, what we have is this the last one? Yes, this is the last step, and then we get a lovely shiny new badge, everybody, and you will have set up knowledge. Hooray! So after this, we are gonna, in this section, we are gonna look at how to close cases with articles. We're gonna add knowledge to our console. We're gonna add our components. We're gonna just finish off tying off some loose ends and making it usable. And we're gonna also map a couple of data categories as well. So adding knowledge to our console is absolutely fundamental. We can't do it. We can't use knowledge unless people can see it. So we're going to go, I'm going to just move this. We're going to go into our app launcher, which we already are in, and click Service Console. So top right-hand corner, you've got Service Console. Comes as standard, so you just click that, and then you go into the lovely console view. Do you remember where you could click a case and it would open everything else underneath, and you could click an account and it would come up with the case and all of those things. I love this view. So what does she see in her console? Oh, look, there's a new section called knowledge. That's a good start. So what we have to do then is make sure that our agents see that knowledge pane whenever they open a case. So we're going to go and click cases and we're going to find a case. So let's have a look. All closed cases, all open cases. We want 1006, which is Edna Frank. Upset because our generator assembly instructions are unclear. So let's go and have a look at that. Okie doke. Now I didn't have my browser extended, so that's why it was looking a bit odd for a second there, but I can kind of scroll with my magic mouse. What we want to be able to do here is we're going to go and click on edit. We're going to click on our cog up here because we're going to edit our page, and we just click edit page. And we're going to drag the knowledge components over, even though it's already there. Okay. We drag it to the right side of our case record page. We click save and we click activate. And we make sure we assign it as the org default. Desktop and phone, hit next, hit save. So then the next thing that she does is she adds a related list component below the knowledge component to show which articles have been related to this case. So we're going to go and get, under your list on the left-hand side, you've got related list dash single. Just drag it over and put it underneath your knowledge. And on the right-hand side, you get to choose which related list it is. So we're just going to select articles and click save. Now notice it says this related list cannot be displayed because it's not in the current page layout. Well, we're going to make it part of the page layout. And luckily on the right-hand side here, you've got a list of all 4 layouts for cases. Now I'm going to open view all layouts in another window. Another tab, sorry. And I'm just going to go to my standard case layout. And I'm going to go to related lists. And I'm just going to drag articles in. And click save. You may notice a thing here called solutions. Nobody uses those anymore. Solutions are now articles. It's a very old legacy piece of functionality, that. And then just because I like to be very extra careful, I am going to go and do the same for all my other layouts as well. I'm just going to drag the articles and click save. And then I'm going to go to my sales case layout and I'm going to probably do the same. So related lists, drag down the articles, remove the solutions, save. And then we have marketing. We are going to drag down the articles and remove the solutions and click save. Sorry if I went a bit fast there, I just dragged and dropped. So now, if we save this and go back, we will see the related list component is there, but it should also have our related list underneath because we just added it. Hang on there. Reload the page. Weird. Okay. So next thing she needs to do is add a tab component and move the. I really hate this badge. Sorry, everyone. I'm going to say it. It's not a good badge. Anyway, because it looks like all of this stuff has been done for us. So what we've been asked to do, add a related list component beneath the knowledge component to show which articles have been related to this case. She follows the same steps and double checks customize related lists for details. Next, she adds a tab component and puts the knowledge component and its related list inside. Okay. She doesn't want her agents to have to scroll too much to see the information. She makes a note to ask Ada about adding other components. Lightning App Builder makes it so easy to change pages that Maria can quickly respond to Ada's requests. Right. Oh, it has lost it, hasn't it? It has actually lost it. Okay. Related list. Articles. Save. Okay. I think I just got myself in a tizzy. Apologies, everyone. Still doesn't say it, does it? It still doesn't have knowledge or articles. Oh, I'm getting frustrated. Anyway. Okay. So the next thing that we're being encouraged to do is to allow agents to attach articles to cases. And what it means is that it's there for reference. If a case is reopened, a new agent knows what article the customer used to try and solve the problem. So it just gives a bit of history. So if we go to, so what we got to do is actually change one of our layouts and enable the attaching of articles. So we're going to do that through our case page layouts. So if we go back to our case and we go to our case layout, at the top of the page, click Feed View. And this is where you can kind of change what actions and so on are seen when people use cases inside a console feed view. So we're going to scroll down to Article Tool Settings. And we're going to enable the attachment of articles inline, okay? And then, you know, there are other bits you can add here and there if you need to. So once you've clicked that, click Save. And then we've got to go back to the service console. So I'm going to do this from scratch. I've just closed down my other window on purpose. And I'm going to go back to my 9 dots and I'm going to type service console. Click on a case number. Enter a search term for articles, even though there are no articles. View all. And she starts to enter the words hot water, even though there are no articles. And she can search for any articles that have the words hot water. And then if she, so because this is all theoretical, because for some reason this is just not showing anything useful, I'm just going to create a new article because I'm getting annoyed. So click this, go into service, knowledge, new knowledge, procedure. Oh, hooray, hot water. Hot water. And here is all of the fields that we created earlier. So with all of our stuff in it. So your purpose, your warnings, and look at all the things you can add. You can add in like a little video, iframe. You can add in some source HTML. You can add in loads of stuff. Just click Save. publish now. And I'm going to go back to cases. Oh, and there it all is, hot water. There's our knowledge article. And then on the right-hand side here, you've got an option here. So you can click attach article. And what that now allows you to do is to actually link this case to some articles that have helped you to solve the case if you're an agent. Or, you know, if another article has helped a customer, you can attach it there as well. So it's just a way of being able to say these are all the cases. It helps you to track like the reliability of different articles as well. So you can make sure that you are still producing content that is relevant and useful. So attaching the article, let's do that. And then you can see in the right-hand corner, that little related list that we added, you can see the article that helped this case with its resolution. And if you hover over it, it will come up with more information. So like your procedure, audience, purpose, warnings, etc., your internal notes and everything else. Then if you are privileged enough to be working on an article, you can edit it as a draft. And you can make changes to that article as you learn more information for each case that you build, that you resolve. If you can also detach it, you can detach an article from the case as well, which removes it out of that related list, as you'll be able to see. So there's one or two more things to do next. We've got to start adding communication channel mappings, which enables you to email articles as well. So we can go ahead and do that backstage. So we go back to setup and back to our knowledge as an object. And there's a section on the bottom left-hand side called communication channel mappings. And this is where you set up your mappings for each method of communication. So you just go to new. This new one that we're going to create is called FAQ, because that's the one we're going to look at first. What did I just do? FAQ. Okay. And the record type that we assign to it is FAQ. So this tells us exactly like what channels we're going to allow FAQ articles to come through. So we're going to select email, but we can also allow these articles to be sent through chat, through messaging, through social as well. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull over question and answer to be the main fields that we see on our layout for this channel. Okay, so when we're sending stuff through email, we can just send a question and an answer. But if we're sending stuff through social, we might want something a lot shorter, for example. And I'm learning, and this is the first time I've seen this bit, by the way, just letting you know. So we move the, okay, so we've done that, and then we can save this and go back into our service console, select our cases, pick a case number, and from the knowledge pane, we actually have another option. So if I look for hot water again, we actually have a new option from the knowledge pane. Pick a case number from the knowledge pane, select insert article into email. I'm not seeing that. Select, oh, I'm not in the console, that would be why. Service console. From the navigation bar, select cases, click a case number, find the article, No, okay, it's not letting us do it for email. Ah, that would be why. Email to case must be enabled before you can use the insert article into email menu item. And of course, this is a new playground, so we don't have email to case enabled at the moment. So that would be why. Email to case is a way of, it's a way of integrating Salesforce with email for support purposes. And I have a hard stop in a minute, I apologize. It's a way of actually making it possible to email a central email address and have a case automatically appear in Salesforce. So, and obviously this feature does depend on that as well. I think, I know we're so close. And I think that we can get through this final quiz now, but we can come back and look at some other stuff on Wednesday. So let's have a look at question number 1. What can Maria do if her support specialist can't see the knowledge component on their case pages? A, enable knowledge search settings. B, add the knowledge component to the record page using Lightning App Builder. C, add knowledge to the service console using Lightning App Builder. Or D, contact her Salesforce AE. That's my favorite answer. So, yeah. Oh, I think it's going to be adding it to the console. Number 2, what's the quickest way to remove unnecessary information and increase customer satisfaction when inserting an article into an email? A, set up communication channel mappings. B, reread the email and delete the extra information by hand. C, enable search settings. Or D, add apologetic emojis. And remove unnecessary information. I think it's going to be reread the email and delete the extra information by hand. And I'm wrong. I'm so wrong. So I think it's going to be communication channel mappings. And I think it's going to be B. I got a badge. Did you all get a badge? Amazing. Okay, everybody. So apologies, but I do have to dash because I have another call. But I love you all and well done. Thank you very much for bearing with me through this Trailhead badge. It's been interesting.